The void does not begin with a bang, but with the sudden, haunting absence of a heartbeat in the world's most crowded intersection. When Ryosuke Sato's vision of Haro Aso's manga, Alice in Borderland, arrived on Netflix in the waning days of 2020, it didn't just present a survival thriller, it invited us into a digital purgatory where the neon lights of Tokyo are replaced by the cold glow of a smartphone screen counting down to your extinction. To understand this series is to walk through the Shibuya crossing and feel the weight of 1,000 missing ghosts, realizing that the game has always been happening. We just finally noticed the scoreboard. Imagine, if you will, the life of Arisu. He is the modern archetype of the wasted youth, a brilliant mind rotting away in the corners of a dark bedroom, finding more meaning in the logic of a video game than in the suffocating expectations of a Japanese society that demands conformity and productivity. His friends, Choda and Kurube, are his only anchors in a world that feels increasingly like a simulation. Then, in one breathtaking sequence of cinematic sleight of hand, the crowds vanish. The noise dies. The Shibuya we know, a pulsing vein of humanity, becomes a concrete graveyard. This is the first stroke of the show's genius. It transforms the familiar into the alien, stripping away the social contract and leaving only the raw, animalistic need to persist. The Borderland is governed by a cruel, mathematical elegance. It is not enough to simply survive. One must earn the right to exist through the accumulation of visas. These visas are the currency of life, bought with the blood and sweat of games that are categorized by the suits of a deck of cards. This system is a biting commentary on the transactional nature of human existence. Spades demand the physical endurance of the laborer, diamonds require the cold calculation of the intellectual, and clubs ask for the cooperation of the collective. But it is the hearts, the psychological games, where the series finds its soul and its most profound horror. The hearts games do not ask you to outrun a monster or solve a puzzle. They ask you to butcher your friend's trust to save your own skin. They are games of betrayal, proving that the most dangerous thing in any wasteland is not the lack of water or the presence of a killer, but the fragility of the human heart. When Arisu, Kurube, and Choda face the Seven of Hearts, the infamous hide-and-seek game, the series elevates itself from a genre thriller to a Shakespearean tragedy. Only one can survive. The frantic transition from desperation to sacrifice serves as the emotional bedrock of the entire first season. It is here that Arisu ceases to be a player and becomes a survivor, burdened with the survivor's guilt that defines every step he takes afterward. He meets Usagi, a mountain climber whose physical prowess and stoic connection to the natural world provide the perfect foil to Arisu's urban, analytical mind. Together, they represent the union of the physical and the mental, a necessary synthesis if one hopes to see the sun rise in a sky that seems permanently trapped in a digital dusk. The aesthetic of the series is a character in its own right. The cinematography captures a Tokyo that is both lush and decaying, where nature begins to reclaim the skyscrapers and the silence is more deafening than any explosion. The production design avoids the sterile look of many sci-fi adaptations, opting instead for a gritty, tactile reality. When the lasers descend from the sky to execute those whose visas have expired, the violence is swift and clinical, a reminder that the game master views human life as nothing more than a line of code to be deleted. This technical precision mirrors the internal logic of the characters. We see this most clearly in Tsuchiya, the white-haired enigma who navigates the borderland with the detached curiosity of a scientist watching ants in a jar. His presence introduces a philosophical nihilism to the narrative, challenging the audience to ask if there is any point in playing a game that is rigged from the start. Midway through the journey, the narrative shifts its lens to the beach, an oasis of hedonism and false hope established by the charismatic and delusional Hatter. Here, the show explores the sociology of the cult. In the absence of traditional law, humans default to hierarchy and violence. The beach is a utopia built on a foundation of stolen cards and broken dreams, a place where people wear swimsuits to hide the scars of the games they've played. It is a microcosm of society's desperate attempt to maintain normalcy, even when the world has ended. The conflict between the militants, led by Aguni, and the idealists, led by the Hatters, serves as a grim reminder that even in purgatory, the cycle of power and corruption remains unbroken. What makes Alice in Borderland so resonant is its underlying question: what does it mean to be truly alive? In the real world, Arisu and his peers were invisible, marginalized by a system that had no use for their specific talents. In the Borderland, their survival depends entirely on those discarded skills. The irony is thick. Only when their lives are threatened every single night do they begin to value the breath in their lungs and the connections they forge with others. The series uses the framework of a death game to strip away the masks of social status, wealth, and ego, leaving behind the bare essence of humanity. As the first season culminates in the fiery collapse of the beach and the revelation of the dealers who operate the games from the shadows, the scope of the mystery expands. It stops being a story about surviving a city and starts being a story about challenging the gods of this new world. The visual of the giant airships hovering over the city, unfurling the banners of the face cards, remains one of the most chilling images in modern television. It signals that the nightmare is only beginning, and the stakes have shifted from the numerical to the existential. In the end, Alice in Borderland is a symphony of tension and philosophical inquiry. It is a mirror held up to our own digital age, where we are often more connected to our devices than to the people standing next to us. It asks us if we would fight for a life that we previously found meaningless, and if we would hold the hand of a stranger as the clock hits zero. It is a brutal, beautiful, and relentlessly paced exploration of the human will to endure against impossible odds, wrapped in the neon-soaked packaging of a high-stakes thriller. It doesn't just entertain, it haunts, leaving the viewer to wonder, as they walk through their own city streets, what they would do if the lights suddenly went out and a phone appeared, simply saying, "Game start."